locked up somewhere and you've got to come forward for a bit more, only you've got to swing, so that's happened over there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be kicking things off very shortly. So we've actually met the final countdown. Make sure that you get yourselves a nice seat. Remember, this is a non-smoking venue. Hope you enjoyed your dance off. You guys absolutely smashed it apart. Well done to the girls in the stands. Nailed it. Girls at the front, that was incredible. A little bit filthy. Well done. See you girls at the after party. And Victoria, smashing it apart as always, girls, as always. I was saving it till last, that all. God, they need a lot of validation, Victoria, don't they?
Maybe there's enough time for Western Sydney to be a little bit more dirty. I think it's possible. I myself live very near to Blacktown, so they're my peeps. And I can assure you, they're pretty dirty on the streets.
Oh, good work.
That's true.
Look at that.
Dirty in a good way. Why are you booing? Seven Hills, man. Come on. West side. West side.
This side. This is indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the Battle of the West. We've got the West Side Derby Dolls up against the Western Sydney Rollers, ladies and gentlemen. Battle of the West. You like to keep it loose. If you're from Adelaide, that means you don't have teeth. So,
just a little bit of feedback for the audience here. That's you lot. Yeah, be quiet. No, be quiet when I'm talking. Just a little bit of feedback for you guys. I watched the Inner West game and they were way louder than you. Way louder. So you're going to have to bring it a little bit more.
Before we kick this game off, and good work, girls. No, you've nailed it. Smash some more beers. You'll have a real fun time. We just want to have a quick chat Promotions. Those are the guys that gave us that fantastic truck out there. So big heads up to those guys. We're going to chat about some of our other sponsors as things are going. Let's check out where the crowd is at the moment and who's doing what. Who here is thinking that Westside Derby Dolls are going to take this away? Oh, good work. Who thinks that it's all about the Western Sydney Rollers?
And who here is just confused about which West is West?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
And who
to
is
the
just
great
to watch the
Southern
rest?
Slam here from sunny Adelaide in our final bout on day 2.
Now, what was the shortest one, isn't it?
Well, one of the refs did actually make a special request. Head referee Syntax did actually make a special request that I say some nice things into the talking stick about her. However, we have come to an...
And I am Mike Mann from Southside Derby Dolls, all the way from Sydney.
And we have this evening playing for you the Western Sydney Rollers versus the Westside Derby Dolls from Melbourne.
Westside Derby Dolls from Melbourne, from Western Melbourne, Western Sydney Rollers. Not quite sure where they're from. It could be... It's definitely in the west. I'm not sure of what city they're from, though.
Interestingly, West in relation to Sydney always seems like a vague and nebulous term. I never understand what West in Sydney means. You've got the inner West, the middle West, outer West. There's just a lot of West.
There is a lot of west in Sydney. It's because we're on the east coast, so anything east of the beach is considered west.
Yeah, we've just got us and then Antarctica for nothing, mate. So I don't know what's going on.
So do you have north side, where we have west side?
I guess we do. No, we still have a bit of a west because the city's kind of off the coast. So the west is everything between the city and the coast that's going to roll into the ocean one day.
Right. So looking forward to climate change then on the west side of Adelaide.
And everywhere. Oh, goodness gracious. We have lining up for Western Sydney this evening Centurion, Howlin' Knight, Power Pout, Lightning, Sneaky Stackhouse, Newton's Nightmare, Molotov, Honey Punch, Pixie Mitosis, Optimus Prime, Pants, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Angel Slayer, and Destruction.
And for the West Side Glory, we've got Bloody Kel, Crosby Wheels and Smash, Crotch Candy, Dozer, Fisticuffs, Goldie Blocks, Kapow, Lady Wood, Lauren Order, Pandemonium, Raven, Sly Diablo, Speedy Wasabi, and Trippy Taka. There's an echo in here.
Yes, our in-house counterpart commies up on the desk, giving us a big echo. We are moving as well in the quarterfinals to half-hour halves, so hour-long bouts this evening as we are ready to get underway. Safety checks all complete. Sly Diablo lining up for, let me just make sure I get the right teams, Melbourne Westside Derby Dolls against number 326 Howlin' Knight for Western Sydney. The crowd pumped up from a big dance-off we had just before the start of the bout. It's going to be exciting.
It is a bit of an unknown quantity coming into this bout. These teams, I don't believe, have played each other before.
It's amazing considering they both come from the west.
I know. They must be so close, located so close together. Neither jam are able to break through at this stage. Howlin' Knight almost through. 1 to beat, 2 to beat now. Speedy Wasabi working over Howlin' Knight. Howlin' Knight now called lead jammer as the West Side Glory out of play and Kapow is off to the penalty box.
That's one way to become lead jammer. A sly little look off to her boxes. She whips her out. Howlin' Knight.
Sly Diablo only just breaching the pack now. Howlin' Knight, though, already round, looking to score more points. Coming up against Speedy Wasabi yet again. Speedy Wasabi already turning out to be something of a nemesis for Howlin' Knight. Howlin' Knight trying to call it off. Referee not seeing it initially, but eventually she gets the call.
I must say, Jib Peckable as a jam ref has a very interesting not lead jammer action there. It's a very sharp. I'm used to a very pendulous kind of.
Yeah, there used to be something around the Sydney region where the referees tried to outdo each other with the flamboyance in their not lead jammer calls.
Oh, they should join Mr. Fingerprints from Adelaide Roller Derby League and his ruffles if they want to talk about flamboyance.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse lining up this time for the Western Sydney Rollers.
Crosby, Wheels and Smash for Westside Derby Dolls from Melbourne.
Sneaky Stackhouse, one of the main jammers for Western Sydney. She'll be doing a lot of work tonight. But Crosby Wheels and Smash is through first, and does she? Yes, she manages to stay in. Keeps her wheels off the ground. Sneaky Stackhouse out of the pack as well, chasing hard to catch up to Crosby Wheels and Smash.
Get the feeling this is going to be a hard fought bout this evening. No runaways, or skateaways, I should say.
Well, Crosby Wheels and Smash not calling it off in time. Sneaky Stackhouse picking up 2 points against the lead on that pass. That takes Western Sydney out to a 5-0 lead early in the game.
Power Pouts up for Western Sydney against Tripitaka, I think that is.
That is Tripitaka, the captain out there for Westside Glory. Saw her jam earlier today. Did a lot of work again for the Westside Glory. Tripitaka gets out as lead jammer. Power Pout also through now, chasing hard. Tripitaka will be looking for a quick hit it and quit it here, but doesn't get it. Again, points against the lead. Power Pout taking the advantage off Tripitaka.
A little nip across the apex, and she's through for a grand slam.
Tripitaka, though, evens things up, calls off the jam. That'll be 4 points apiece. Howler Knight stepping back up to the jam line for the Western Sydney Rollers. And Lauren Order taking on the jammer role for Westside Glory.
I'm going to be doing that every time Lauren Order is jamming. Just so you're aware.
Rupert, you got that jingle in my head now. I probably didn't need that. Illegal procedure, false start to Lauren Order. Breaking the law here. Off to the penalty box. Well, she was called.
And yet,
I thought for an illegal procedure with a whistle there for a false start, yet she is now lead jammer.
Yet here we are.
So that call obviously retracted by the jam ref there, or overturned by the head ref. I didn't see her yield, so interesting call there.
Oof. Jeez.
Lauren Order picking up the points. Howland Knight having trouble with the back of this pack of Westside Glory.
Scrappy Derby, fast-moving pack as well. Plenty of skaters finding themselves a seat in the Rydell penalty box early in this bout. No pack hold as Howland Knight tries to make her way through once again. I don't think she has completed her initial pass yet.
Oh, Lauren Order G'ing up the crowd there, picking up another 5 points. Howland Knight through now, looking exhausted after that workover from Westside Glory.
Pivot for Western Sydney off with a forearms call. One blocker apiece in the box to start this next jam.
Sneaky Stackhouse up against Sly Diablo. Sly Diablo for the Westside Glory. Sneaky Stackhouse for the Western Sydney Rollers.
186. Optimus Prime living up to her name. She seems to be about 9 feet tall, and she leads the Western Sydney blockers up to the pivot line.
Yeah, it's one of those names that just suits the skater. She picked a very good one there. Sly Diablo gets around her own wall on the outside and delivers Sneaky Stackhouse to the back of her own pack. But Sneaky Stackhouse recovers beautifully, and she loves it too. She is your lead jammer.
I've seen a lot of number 8008s here at the Great Southern Slam. Obviously a popular number, perhaps something to do with astrology.
Something to do with a calculator, I think. There's a popular brand of calculators back in the 80s.
But Sly Diablo completes her initial pass before it's called off, not able to score any points for the Westside Debbie Dolls.
Sneaky Stackhouse getting the 4, calling it off, doing her job there for Western Sydney Rollers. Quite an even game so far. 22 plays 14. 7 minutes down.
Lightning up for Western Sydney.
And Trippy Taka back jamming again for the Westside Glory. Full complement of skaters on the track. Trippy Taka gets the early advantage but runs into a massive shoulder there.
Lightning takes it around the outside and it pays off to become lead jammer. Trippy Taka not far behind though. It is jammer forward jammer here on track 1.
We'll see what Lightning does here. Looks like she's telling her pack to get to the front. Taking a big risk here with the points.
Doesn't quite find it around the outside.
Well, gets outscored 4-2 against the lead there. Probably not the best tactics to take in when you're down in the game.
I've been saying Trippy Taco this whole time. I apologize. It's Trippy Taka. My bad. I'm hungry. It's dinner time.
Power Pout back on the jam line now for Western Sydney Rollers.
Against Crotch Candy. Oh, sneaking around the outside. Power Pout is lead jammer for Western Sydney.
In the meantime, Crotch Candy is being poleaxed out there.
It's a big call to be poleaxed. She's just conceded her initial pass. Power Pout right hot on her heels.
Oh, Power Pout looking to get up and do some damage here. See if she can overtake Crotch Candy. She does, but she decides to call it off anyway. Didn't get enough of an advantage there. Hoping, I think, to maybe get a track cut or get Crotch Candy down on the floor. Sneaky Stackhouse back jamming again for Western Sydney Rollers.
With Crosby, Wheels and Smash. Sounds like a really fun law firm from the Westside Derby Dolls. Westside Rollers slowly closing this gap, 26-21, only 5 points in it at the moment.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse is out and is your lead jammer. Crosby, Wheels and Smash is going... Well, no, she's not. I thought she was being signaled to the penalty box, but she is your... Well, not your lead jammer. Howlin' Knight, in fact, picks up the penalty for elbows and is off to the penalty box. Sneaky Stackhouse scoring points. Picks up a couple there, I'd say, and decides to call it off. Yeah, 2 points to 0 in that jam.
Lightning up for Western Sydney against Trippy Taka for the Westside Rollers from Melbourne.
Interesting. I did watch a Westside Glory game earlier, and Speedy Wasabi was only jammed 3 times, but was clearly their best jammer, so it will be interesting to see what happens if this game remains close, if Speedy Wasabi will be given the star later on.
Keeping some fresh legs. Trippy Taka finds her way around the outside to become a lead jammer for the Westside Derby Dolls.
In the meantime, Lightning having a hard time getting through, forces her way up the inside now. Half a lap behind though. Trippy Taka will hit and quit it here.
And beautifully sneaks around on the apex.
Well,
doesn't even find a blocker.
Takes advantage of that 4-2 pack advantage. Her pack doing a good job squeezing Western Sydney to the outside.
Power Pout up again for the Western Sydney Rollers. Up against Lauren Order once again for the Westside Rollers. Westside Derby Dolls. God, this Battle of the West is killing me. Apologies if you're from the West.
Obi-Wan Kenobi looking to rejoin the pack as well, standing in the penalty box. Power Pout not picking up the track cut there. Dozer thought she had her, but Power Pout gets away but is not lead jammer. That goes to Lauren Order. Both pivots now heading to the penalty box. And both pivots getting tangled up, like the skaters out on the track as well. Massive collisions everywhere.
Beautifully done. Obi-Wan Kenobi just leaping over at her teammate, number 77, Destruction, saying, "You are not going anywhere, mate." Crotch Candy for the Westside Derby Dolls up against...
That'll be Sneaky Stackhouse jamming again, as predicted on a high jammer rotation. Sneaky Stackhouse jamming in those artistic boots that Sydney residents will be familiar with. You don't see too many Derby players in boots like that. They prefer the low-cut boots generally in Derby.
Am I seeing some bling? I see some sparkle, and I love it.
Oh, it's doing wonders for Sneaky Stackhouse. She's lead jammer again.
Already through for 4 points on a scoring pass.
Yeah, and she's chasing hard here, trying to catch up to Crotch Candy, but decides she's not going to get there before Crotch Candy gets to the pack and calls off the jam. In the meantime, Howlin' Knight takes the star for Western Sydney Rollers.
Tricky Tucker for the Westside Derby Dolls.
We're going to see an official review here from
much-
one of the Western teams, Westside Derby Dolls.
That much is for sure.
Westside Glory, the Melbourne-based team, I believe, is calling for an official review. Good time to mention perhaps some of our sponsors.
Yes, let's start out with platinum sponsor Adelaide Showgrounds, a roof over our head here in the Wavell Pavilion and the Gorda Pavilion. Great friends of Adelaide Roller Derby year-round. Not many places where you could carve up with 6 tracks of Derby action over 3 days, and we thank them very much.
If you see something big and black in your screen during this feed, well, that is the rod train. The other side of that rod train has a massive screen on it that is displaying everything that's happening around the Great Southern Slam. So thanks to Rod Train for supplying such a big black truck.
And not a sponsor, but shout out to Slinky Malinky and Counter Bombs from ADRD, who have done an amazing job bringing you these boutcasts across 3 days. It's the first time going it on our own, and they have done an amazing job, I feel. So send them some love. Also like to say thank you to Rydell, who have sponsored the Track 1 penalty box. Rydell Skates, unmatched quality, unmatched performance. Have a look on the web on Facebook and find Rydell.
And if you're enjoying what you're listening to and watching right now, say a big thank you to BSS Light Audio Visual, year-round sponsors of Adelaide Roller Derby.
Without them, you wouldn't be able to see or hear us, and that would be, frankly, tragic. You can hear Misinformed's customary cackle there in the background, probably. My co-commentator from ADRD. She's got a cutting voice. It's powerful. Not 100% sure. Have you been hearing what the review is over?
No,
It's tricky.
we haven't got an official word yet, but it looks like the referees are still conferring in the middle.
It's the UN of Derby, ladies and gentlemen. I get the feeling they're just discussing existentialism, and they have arrived at the decision on the meaning of life.
Well, official review is over. No official word for the commentators on what that was about, though.
The score doesn't seem to have changed. There are no extra players in the box. 2 Westside Derby Dolls just jumping back on the track to create a full complement of skaters.
Howlin' Knight jamming here for Western Sydney Rollers and stuck at the back of the pack. But
Trippy Taka.
And Tripitaka is through for lead jammer. Howlin' Knight breaks through now. She's a lap behind though. Tripitaka can hit and quit here.
Chooses not to. Still reckons she's got time to sneak in a couple more points.
Well, she'd want to call it off quickly because Howlin' Knight is howling around that track. Coming up, looking to score those points. Just needs to get those hips past. And does she pick up any points? Yes, she does.
3-2.
3-2. Could have been 3-0 if Tripitaka had called that jam off earlier.
Sneaky Stackhouse up for Western Sydney against Lauren.
Yeah, that would be Lauren Order.
Dunk, dunk. Great chance. Good vibe here on track 1. Only 2 points in at 35 for the Westside Derby Dolls, 33 for the Westside Rollers.
Well,
Western Sydney Rollers.
beautiful skating from Sneaky Stackhouse. Sneaking through the middle of the pack there. They didn't see her go left, right, and left again. Lauren Order not having such a good time in this pack here.
Ooh. Takes a seat. Number 44 goes flying over the top. Newton's Nightmare living up to her name.
And Lauren Order is in the box for a low block. It is a power jam to Sneaky Stackhouse.
Ooh.
And Sneaky Stackhouse doing some great skating there. Great manoeuvres. And she is through for a 5-point pass.
2 Westside Rollers getting sent off to the bin. Blockers. So Sneaky Stackhouse with a huge opportunity to do a lot of damage and extend that lead.
Power Pout doing some good work for her jammer there, knocking one of the only 2 blockers out. Both jammers now back on the track. Sneaky Stackhouse conferring with her bench to see if it was the initial pass. Getting confirmation that it was, so she keeps going. Another 5 points there to Sneaky Stackhouse.
It's full box right now, I think, for Westside. Penalties all over the place.
Oh, Sneaky Stackhouse again picking up 5 points. Doesn't matter to her if the jammer is in the box or not. She's going to get that point anyway.
Western Sydney doing some amazing blocking there.
Obi-Wan Kenobi off to the penalty box. Not too happy about it, but can't really argue with the referees out there. Otherwise, you'll be serving more than just one penalty.
We'll be serving penalties forever.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse sneaking through on the whistle. Great jam from Sneaky Stackhouse and for Western Sydney. Takes them out 58, now plays 35. All of a sudden, they've opened up a 23-point lead.
Timeout called for the Westside Rollers. I feel like the benchy's being told to go do an official review.
Well, he has, of course, used his official review. Now, if that we're not sure if it was upheld or not, but in the likely event that it wasn't upheld, he no longer has an official review.
Looking at our scoreboard, it looks like it was not upheld, given they have a 0 under their 0 ORs.
That's usually a pretty good indication.
So one wonders why he has jumped out. Maybe it's a penalty count is off.
Well, he's just using the timeout to confer with the referee, head referee Syntax there. Hopefully he's not getting into a linguistic argument with Syntax. She is an English PhD.
Yeah, she's not got time for that. He's only got a couple seconds left through the lineup.
And Speedy Wasabi is now jamming for Westside Glory.
Not for a little while. Official timeout called. Sydney jumping in to help out with the official timeout dance. And it's over again. Goodness. It is like the UN. Nothing happens.
Well, it's kind of official timeout we like. Nice and quick. Power Pout taking on Speedy Wasabi here. Speedy Wasabi was impressive earlier today. Look for her to burst straight through the middle.
Is this her first jam?
Her first jam tonight, and as predicted, straight through the middle of the pack.
Woo!
Beautiful work from Speedy Wasabi, a former Queen Bee.
What is a Queen Bee for all of us who aren't from Sydney?
That would be the Victorian Roller Derby League's B team. So, Speedy Wasabi.
Still pretty good.
Still pretty good, yeah. So, Speedy Wasabi taking on all that knowledge and training from the Queen Bees, bringing it into the Westside Glory and visible there on the track. Beautiful jamming there, picking up 4 points to 0. Howland Knight jamming once again for the Western Sydney Rollers.
Crotch Candy, I believe, for the Westside Derby Girls from Melbourne. Yes, Crotch Candy. Both jammers heading around the outside, but it is Howland Knight with the advantage. Comes in to be lead jammer. Crotch Candy right behind her, though.
See what Howland Knight does here. She's looking to put a bit of gap on Crotch Candy here and see if she can pick up some quick points. But Western Glory are really putting on the pace here. Well, I don't think she called that off quite in time.
2 points.
And it is 2 points against the lead there. 2 points to 0. Howland Knight not getting the call off done in time.
Lightning coming up for Western Sydney against Tripitaka from the Westside Rollers from Melbourne. Westside Derby Dolls. God. I'll get it right. I'll get it right eventually. I promise. I'm a real person. Tripitaka taking a flying start at the Western Sydney blockers there.
We're going into the back of W1 Kenobi and Sneaky Stackhouse. Does manage to send Sneaky Stackhouse to the penalty box. But apart from that, I think she'll have a nice bit of a headache from that in the morning. Lightning gets out as lead jammer. Tripitaka, though, right behind her. Lightning looking like she's just going to cruise around for a while, then decide to call it off. Has a chat to a bench. Should I call it off? Should I not? Well, let's see. Let's just skate around for a couple more laps. And no, not yet. Maybe one more lap. And probably should have called it off. Oh, Tripitaka flirting with danger. And Tripitaka has she picked up the track cut? Yes, she has. Yep. She's off to the penalty box. Good decision from Western Sydney in the end.
The spectators thought she was about... Oh, spectators on turn 2 not happy about the cut call. I thought they were angling for it.
Yeah, it was an accurate call, though. She did cut one of the skaters that was in front of her.
Is that VRDL? No, they're next. Yep, telling everyone what to do again. I don't know if he can't. He doesn't have one.
Well, this jam is underway, believe it or not. Power Pout is the only jammer on the track. And Speedy Wasabi doing a great job holding her up there. So see the value of Speedy Wasabi in the pack as well. That's why she doesn't jam so often out there.
Tripitaka standing in the penalty box, raring to go for the Westside Debbie Dolls. And
there she goes back on the track now. Power Pout hasn't seen her coming yet. Well, not many skaters out there in the pack. It's only 2-1. Power Pout not noticing Tripitaka out on the track. Otherwise, she might have called that off already.
Bloody Kell unable to find room in the box, so she'll serve her penalty a little bit later.
Well, that was just the initial pass for Tripitaka. So Power Pout right not to call it off, in fact. Don't listen to the commentators. Watch what's happening on the track.
Oh, Speedy Wasabi saying, come at me, bro.
Well, Power Pout should be calling it now. She's not, and Tripitaka takes advantage. Power Pout. You see that so often after a team loses the advantage. Their jammer calls it off when they should have gotten the points that they missed, or just that they just got scored against them. But instead, she called it off, and well,
just make it stop. Just make the hurting stop. I think that's what that means.
Well, Howland Knight jamming here for Western Sydney Rollers
against 110% Sly Diablo. Sydney short on skaters, and Sly Diablo just nips on through on turn 1 to be Kami, your lead jammer.
Sly Diablo, the only one doing any jamming there. Howland Knight, slow to get off the line, is through now, but a lap behind. Sly Diablo up the inside that time, picks up 4 points. Sneaky Stackhouse about to rejoin the pack. Must have served the second minute there, second 30 seconds there, because she was in that penalty box a long time.
Howland Knight taking a knee. Still has not completed her initial pass. With Sly Diablo back in the pack, a chance to do some damage here.
Yeah, closing that gap for the Westside Glory. Oh, Howland Knight looks like she's picked up an injury here.
Oh.
She got
nuts.
quite a large knock there and is not being able to move off the track. They're going to have to call this one. Couldn't drag herself off the track. Going to see some first aid out on the track now.
Skater's taking a knee. As St John Ambulance from South Australia jump in.
Well, big thank you to St John Ambulance as well for providing the first aid for this whole tournament. Doing a great job. There've been a substantial amount of injuries already.
Busy. They've been kept very, very busy. I think we had one skater from Perth who incurred it's like 3 dislocated fingers within the first 10 seconds of a bout today. I think it was yesterday in the Div 1 qualifying round.
Yeah, that was actually a Pirate City skater, so another confusing one. It was PCR, not PCRD.
Okay.
So that's a Pirate City Rollers skater and their captain, in fact, Skate Damas, being sent to hospital in the first jam and coming back for the second game, but not making it in time by about 2 minutes. So her whole tournament has been 1 jam and a dislocated finger.
Anything can happen here at TGSS. Our skater is okay. God, I'm terrible. I've forgotten who it was already. Helen Knight, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, that was Helen Knight. She'll sit off the next 3 at least.
Lightning up for the Western Sydney Rollers.
And she'll be taking on Lauren Order.
77 for Western Sydney, 55 for the Westside Glory from Melbourne. Under 10 minutes left in the first half.
A healthy lead for Western Sydney Rollers. Not insurmountable, though.
Angel Slayer taking a big nap there on the concrete. Pops right back up.
Optimus Prime on Lauren Order. Absolute mismatch there. Lauren Order does eventually get around Optimus Prime.
But it is lightning through to be a lead jammer for the Western Sydney Rollers.
And Lightning calling off the jam there. Quite a distance from the pack.
Speedy Wasabi up once again. Bit of a crowd favourite for the Westside Glory from Melbourne.
Power pout jamming for Western Sydney Rollers. Western Sydney Rollers, of course, for the fans out there, they are known as the Boutlaws. The Boutlaws. With the latest rule set, they're no longer called bouts, though, so maybe they need to change their name to the Game Laws.
That sounds real fun. And it is Speedy Wasabi through to be lead jammer for the Westside Glory. You were right. Fantastic jammer.
Power Pout is through now. Half a lap behind Speedy Wasabi. Speedy Wasabi looking composed, knows what she wants to do, tries to take the outside line, gets closed down by Doby-1 Kenobi, but she finds a way through and calls it off after scoring a quick 4 points. Well, I know she's valuable in the pack, but you need to score the points, and if I were Westside Derby Dolls, I would be sending Speedy Wasabi out there a lot more often.
Sneaky Stackhouse up for Western Sydney Rollers against Tripitaka for the Western Glory Melbourne. Them. Footscray, mate. Footscray. Tripitaka trying to go around the outside, doesn't quite find it. But yes, she does. I'm a liar. She is your lead jammer, but it is jammer for jammer. Sneaky Stackhouse coming around on the inside.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse making sure Tripitaka doesn't get the advantage here, but her team is at the back. Good work from Sneaky Stackhouse. Pushing her opposite number out of play. Tripitaka managing to pick up 1 point there.
Sly Diablo up for the Westside Glory from Melbourne against Lightning from the Western Sydney Rollers. Getting a little run up there.
Neither jammer with an early advantage here. Both trying to work their way through the pack. Slidey Adelaide now gets up that inside line. Lightning only a few steps behind though. Well, this pack moving at a quick pace right now.
Both teams swapping. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, sometimes one lap of the track is just not enough.
Centurion coming in for a penalty eventually. Hello.
Well, Centurion obviously missing the penalty box zone on the first lap. Has to go round again. As we do see Speedy Wasabi back jamming now for Westside Glory. And that is Power Pout for the Western Sydney Outlaws.
79 points for Western Sydney, 64 for the Westside Glory. Power Pout trying on the inside but doesn't quite make it. Speedy Wasabi doing what she does best around the outside to become a lead jammer for Westside Glory.
And Power Pout back block is off to the penalty box. Not happy about it either.
Speedy Wasabi, with a huge opportunity here to make up some points.
But Speedy Wasabi doesn't realise it was a power jam situation and calls off the jam. Big smile on her face as she does so.
Oh, God, that's going to feel stupid. Oh, well. West Side Glory still starting with an advantage.
And Tripitaka looking to take home that advantage here, but of course they go back to the initial pass. Speedy Wasabi was the best option to have out there, scoring those points. Probably could have closed that gap down before half-time. Now Western Sydney will breathe a sigh of relief. Well, good work from Western Sydney. They're eventually pushed up out of play though, and Tripitaka gets through for lead jammer.
And a slightly askew pivot helmet.
Howland Knight there. She's off for out of play engagement. Tripitaka gets just the one pass and calls off the jam. 5 points on that pass.
Good to see Howland Knight back on the track, wasn't it? It was her who took a bit of a hit before, wasn't it?
It was indeed, so she's obviously okay out there.
Well done, defying all... No, I'm not going to say that because that's a lie. We have very competent medical advice, which she followed to the letter. Don't sue me. Sneaky Stackhouse up once again for Western Sydney against Crotch Candy for Westside Glory.
Oh, Crotch Candy getting a bit of a work over there, but recovers well. And, oh no, she gets smashed again. Dobi-Wan Kenobi coming in, cleaning her up.
52 Honey Punch with some massive block in there.
And Crotch Candy is now off for a track cut.
Power jam situation for the Western Sydney Rollers.
Sneaky Stackhouse looking to get through. Unable to do so at the moment. Speedy Wasabi holding her up beautifully. Speedy Wasabi looking to make up for that mistake earlier where she called off the jam too soon. It was Sneaky Stackhouse who was her opposite number.
No lead jammer available in this situation, so we will see this one through to the end, and that will be the end of this first half. Westside Glory have managed to narrow up this score, 74 for them against 79 for Western Sydney Rollers.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse doing a great job there, straddling the line after being hit out by Speedy Wasabi as Crotch Candy rejoins the pack. Speedy Wasabi all over Sneaky Stackhouse here. I'd say a bit like wasabi over sushi.
You beat me. I was trying to think of one while you were talking, but you got it. I'm very proud of you.
That's all I ask.
4 points there to the Westside Glory, and they are going to go into half-time nearly level with the Western Sydney Rollers in a remarkable turnaround. Skaters flying everywhere. Speedy Wasabi gets forearms, sent off to the box. Gracious me.
Well, Westside Derby Dolls now take the lead.
Holy mackerel.
We're 22 points down, just a matter of minutes ago, and Honey Punch absolutely annihilates Crotch Candy on that occasion. Honey Punch and Crotch Candy. I'll leave that one alone.
Bit of a rivalry. And that is the end of the first half. As it stands, 83-86. I'm lying. Points, oh my goodness, to the West Side Glory from Melbourne. 84 points to the Western Sydney Rollers. Only 2 points in this. A fantastic effort by the West Side Glory.
A phenomenal game right now. Absolutely thrilling to watch. This is going to be a real tussle right to the end.
And do you think are there any other skaters who are great jammers in the lineups we haven't seen yet that you know of, Mike Mann?
No, I think we've seen the best jammers out there so far. We will see a lot of Sneaky Stackhouse in the second half again, and I predict Speedy Wasabi will be taking the star, doing her fair share in the second half. We'll be back in about 13 minutes' time with a bit of a preamble for the second half. So join us then. Grab yourself a drink. Grab yourself something to eat. It is dinner time. I'd love to be able to do the same. But you've got the advantage at home. So go and do what you need to do, and we'll be back with you in about 13 minutes.
See you soon.
Well, we're back here ready for the second half action. 84 plays 86. Western Sydney with the deficit of 2 points coming into the second half.
It is, in fact, time to find out how the West was won. You're welcome. A brilliant effort by the Westside Glory from Melbourne in closing that lead at the end of the second half after a accidentally slightly wasted power jam from Speedy Wasabi. They put in a huge effort to take the lead by 2 points.
Well, sometimes you need something to spur you into action, and I think that's what might have happened there. They realised it was an opportunity lost, and, well, they made up for it in the next 2 jams. So we are ready to get underway. Gear checks have been completed.
That is Sly Diablo up for the Westside Glory from Melbourne against Power Pouch from Sydney.
And Rupert, I have to thank you. I was feeling a little bit sluggish, but you gave me a chew on your red skin at body temperature, so that was very thoughtful of you.
I look after my co-commentators. It had been in my pocket for about 4 hours. You are welcome. Pivot line start almost here. Don't see those anymore. Power Power trying to just slam her way through. Doesn't quite get it. Takes a knee.
Sly Diablo having trouble there with Honey Punch. Oh, Power Pout gets a ride from Dozer.
Both jammers just almost making it, and then nah, goodness, gonna have a lie down.
Well, welcome back to the second half indeed for both jammers here. Both of them copping a pummeling right now.
30 seconds in, neither jammer has made it through for their initial pass. Oh my God. Has somebody sprayed down the track with Crisco?
Well, I'd like to see this Power Pout picks up lead jammer finally. Almost a minute in.
She looks exhausted.
Well, those team huddles must have been quite intense at half time. Both teams getting some motivational words and coming out firing in the second half.
Oh, number 33, Dozer saying, nah, just going to give you a little hip as you come around.
Power Pout takes it though and picks up 5 points. Sly Diablo. Well, she is off to the... No, she's not lead jammer. Thought she was being called for a track cut there, but it's just a mechanical no lead jammer call from our jam referee. Power Pout picking up a track cut, trying to call off the jam, but had already picked up the track cut and is off to the penalty box.
Sly Diablo in a power jam situation. Not lead jammer, however. Oh, picking up 5 points there.
Yeah, power jam, and also with only one blocker from the opposition on the track. That's Dobie One Kenobi. And she gets through quite easily there. Well, Western Sydney skaters actually wrestling each other for positions in the penalty box now.
It is a sea of pink in the Rydell penalty box here on track 1.
Trippy Taka jamming for Westside Glory, and the lonesome skater on the track for Western Sydney Rollers is Sneaky Stackhouse.
Bit of a breath out, bit of a smile, just keeps her eyes on the jammer. She knows what she's there to do.
Does her best, Sneaky Stackhouse, but Trippy Taka gets through for lead jammer. Lightning talking to the penalty trackers here, trying to see if she can get back on the track. Power Pout standing, ready to come back on in a few seconds.
Oh, goodness me.
Trippy Taka calls off the jam, even though Lightning was on her initial pass. Well, sorry, not Lightning. Power Pout.
Close. The Lightning powers the Pout. Speedy Wasabi up for the Western Glory. Fantastic jammer against Howlin' Knight, whose brain is doing great after a little break.
Well, good time to get your best jammer out there. 3-on-2 pack advantage. Well, actually, 3-on-1 pack advantage. Shouldn't be too hard for Speedy Wasabi this time, and it's not. She's your lead jammer.
Brilliant work from Speedy Wasabi. West Side Glory have extended that lead out to 10 points, 101 to 91, triple digits.
Speedy Wasabi also calling off the jam there, making sure Western Sydney don't get any points. Howland Knight not able to trouble the scorers.
Crotch Candy up for Western Glory as the pack moves closer to the pivot line. Running start here.
And that's Power Pouch she's up against there on the jam line. Well, back to even numbers, or perhaps an advantage now for Western Sydney in the pack, a 3-2 advantage here.
Oh my God.
Crotch Candy and Power Pouch getting tangled up with each other there. No penalty, all legal.
Ladywood in a jammer sandwich. Don't say that every day.
It is Crotch Candy. He's out as lead jammer. Power Pouch catching up to her around this track, though. Well, both packs absolutely pouring on the pace. And, yeah, the jammer calls it off there. No points for Western Sydney. And 1 point for the Westside Glory.
Tripitaka up once again against SK8 Lightning for the Western Sydney Rollers. Hello. A lovely wave back there from Lightning.
Someone might be able to think she could hear us out there.
I would admire her ability to multitask if that was the case. Oh, Tripitaka gets pushed out on the outside just before turn number 1.
Yeah, Honey Punch doing the business there on Tripitaka, forcing her back, but Tripitaka, well, then she runs into a shoulder of Centurion. But she recovers again and picks up lead jammer. Lightning having a harder time getting through this pack. Tripitaka has overtaken her on this lap and picks up the 5 points.
To borrow a phrase, didn't even touch the sides. A big old keep on skating there from the Westside Glory bench. A good decision as she makes it through for another grand slam. Lightning finally making it through for her initial pass.
Tripitaka pouring on the points in this jam. She'll look to get through, get past Pixie Mitosis and Optimus Prime, call it off, and that's what she does.
Westside Glory extending their lead once again. 31 points, 122 against 91 for Western Sydney.
So it'll be Crosby, Wheels and Smash taking on Howland Knight in this particular jam. I don't think we've seen the last lead change for this game, though. I think Western Sydney will start to claw back pretty soon.
Just want to shout out to Izzy for real. One of the better ref names I've ever heard.
Well, Crosby, Wheels and Smash picks up lead jammer. Good organisation in the pack from Westside Glory.
I just snorted a bit with laughter that just delicate, and both skaters sent off to the Rydell penalty box.
Yeah, Ladywood and D-Star Action both going for low blocks.
On each other, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. Not quite sure how that works in a referee's eyes. I think usually it's only one skater who goes as Crosby, Wheels and Smash gets pummeled there.
But she makes it through for another grand slam. Huge amount of momentum behind the Westside Glory at the moment. Fast skating, they're looking very confident here.
Well, interesting, we haven't seen much of Sneaky Stackhouse for Western Sydney Rollers yet in this half. D-Star Action rejoining her teammates on the track, trying to help Howland Knight get through this pack. Unable to do so at the moment, and Crosby, Wheels and Smash gets pinballed.
I mean, this looks like a power jam right now. My goodness gracious. She's through again. Another grand slam. Massive amount of damage.
Western Sydney tried to fox the referee into thinking that was a track cut, but skater had gone down. So Crosby, Wheels and Smash with the apex jump there. Picks up another 5 points. Spectacular stuff.
Fantastic apex jump. She looks back at her box. I know what I'm doing.
Well, that lead just getting away now. Perhaps another lead change won't be on the cards. Still 20 minutes to go, though. Time on the clock for Western Sydney.
3, 2,
as we've seen a star pass.
As the jam clock winds on down.
Howland Knight couldn't take the heat any longer.
Massive round of applause in the room for Crosby, Wheels and Smash for a huge scoring bout.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse now jamming for Western Sydney. Their best jammer looking to right the ship. And she'll be taking on Trippy Taka, whose last jam was an absolute beauty as well.
Little official timeout being called, little referee moment. Perhaps time to mention some of our sponsors for the Great Southern Slam 2014. Big fat shout out to the Little Adelaide Rollers, underage with Derby Rage, silver sponsor and sponsor of the penalty box on track 2 in the Gorda Pavilion.
And we'd also like to thank Isogenics, solutions to transform lives. Isogenics is a complete and simple system of nutritional cleansing that provides support for athletes or armchair athletes.
That would be us.
Absolutely. Well, the chant going up for Westside here.
And yet, what does that mean in the context of this bout? Let's go, everyone, let's go. Westside for life, yo.
Well, small crowd, but they're making a lot of noise right now. Of course, chanting for the Westside Glory. Only a short trip over from Melbourne. Not too many supporters in the crowd for the Boutlaws. You can see a few over there in their green shirts and their skull and crossbones.
I see another onesie. Somebody's cutting in on our game. It is, in fact, onesie day for the commies here. I am Spider-Man at the moment. I'm also Rupert Murdoch.
And I'm dressed as Mike Mann.
His skin is his onesie. That was a bit Hannibal-y. Anyway.
I have suggested to a couple of people a Nunsie Day, but it isn't taking off yet.
I love it so much. Although Son of Skaten decided he was getting a bit toasty under his gorilla onesie, so he's been rocking around in his tidy whities under his onesie all day. Dack him if you see him, ladies and gentlemen. 150 for the Westside Glory from Melbourne, 91 for the Western Sydney Rollers.
Well, Western Sydney needs some solid jams now, and they need some power jams, really, to try and close this gap back up.
And Sneaky Stackhouse with a huge gamut, but Speedy Wasabi's not going to give up. She did not get through. It's Trippy Taka as your lead jammer.
Well, Trippy Taka takes lead jammer with a 4-2 pack disadvantage, all thanks to Speedy Wasabi. Held up Sneaky Stackhouse beautifully there.
But Stackhouse got her serious face on. She means business. 1 point there. Trippy Taka confirming with her jam ref to the Westside Glory.
That'll be Lightning jamming now for Western Sydney Rollers. And I think that's Crosby, Wheels and Smash jamming for the Westside Glory.
Derby's law firm of choice. But it is Lightning in lead jammer position, exactly what Western Sydney need right now. Crosby, Wheels, Smash not too far behind. Lightning's going to probably try and hit this and quit this just for a couple of points to try and regain some momentum. Calls it off.
Well, she'll pick up the 4 there for the 2 not on the track points as well.
Brilliant execution of that jam by Lightning for Western Sydney.
Well, plenty of time on the clock if Western Sydney can keep jamming like that, but they are up against Speedy Wasabi now, and it's power pout. However, Speedy Wasabi will only have one helper out there.
Oh, both jammers getting down low. Both mean business. And they are away. Bit of jammer on jammer biffo there.
Well, great work from Speedy Wasabi and Raven teaming up there on Power Pout, not letting it through. And there's got to be a penalty out of that somewhere, surely. Yeah, and it is.
I demand justice.
It is. No, it's not the jammer. It is, in fact, Raven that's going to the penalty box.
Power Pout moving into lead jammer position, exactly again what Western Sydney needs. And Speedy Wasabi also picking up a penalty power jam situation for Western Sydney. Could this be the turn they need?
Western Sydney on the go slow now as more skaters rejoin the pack for Westside Glory. Power Pout pushing Sly Diablo up out of play.
And Goldie Blocks with that golden helmet and pigtails. Not quite enough though. She gets through for a grand slam, 5 points. As Western Sydney trip there, triple digits, 105.
Speedy Wasabi ready to rejoin the pack now. In stereo as well.
Another grand slam there for Western Sydney. Speedy Wasabi absolutely belting around the track.
And Power Pout will go through and call off the jam. She does so. Well, it took a while for the jam ref to call it off. I don't think Speedy Wasabi got any points. No, she didn't. Power Pout with an excellent jam rights the ship for Western Sydney Rollers.
Trippy Taka up for the Western Glory from Melbourne, up against Sneaky Stackhouse from Western Sydney. Westside Glory a blocker down. Goldie Blocks taking a seat in the box.
Good work from both jammers, but it will be Trippy Taka who comes out on top, picks up lead jammer.
Great work there.
Sneaky Stackhouse only getting through now, half a lap behind.
She'll try and hit it and quit it just to get a few more points on that board. She knows she's got a little bit more time. Oh, so close to getting past Dozer and scoring 1 point there, but Sneaky Stackhouse walks away with nothing.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse knew there were 2 not on the track points up for grabs there as well, so she was desperate to get past those hips.
And forgive me, a technicality I don't actually know. Do the off-track points incurred as soon as the jammer passes the first on-track blocker?
That's correct, yeah. So any out-of-play skater, including in the box, as soon as the first set of hips are passed on that scoring pass. So if the jam is called off then, those points will count. Oh, huge hit there from Lightning.
She wants it. She wants to win this bout. She is lead jammer. Westside Glory still stuck back there in the pack. Slides Diablo only just making it through. Gets sent off for a cutting. It is a power jam for Western Sydney right now. Exactly what they need, and she called it off.
Well, she has called it off. I think they want to get Sneaky Stackhouse out there. No, in fact, they haven't. They've gone for Howlin' Knight. Well, I thought it was a tactical call-off there, but perhaps it was just another error on the part of the jammer.
Didn't realise that she was in a power jam situation. A lot of factors can go into that. The crowd can lead it.
Oh. Well, Howlin' Knight proving me wrong. Does beautifully there up against the 3 opposition skaters. Picks up lead jammer in no time at all.
Nips across turn 2 there.
And she's going to push these skaters up out of play, and we're going to see a skater going for a low block here.
Was it worth it to slow her down though?
No pack is called. We're going to see some out of play engagements. Howlin' Knight can go. She doesn't realise. Dozer will go to the penalty box. Lucky not to pick up a second penalty as well.
Grand slam there for Western Sydney. Inching this lead back in, just under 15 minutes left.
Howlin' Knight takes in the deep breaths after picking up another 4 points and calls off the jam. Western Sydney back within striking distance now. 155 plays 128.
Must be interesting if you've been playing, what have we been playing? 10-minute halves all day to suddenly move into 15-minute halves. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Where are we?
20-minute halves into half-hour halves.
Great, thank you.
You're thinking in quarters for some reason.
am.
I'm not quite sure why, but
It's been a long day. Here at the Great Southern Slam, the world's largest roller derby tournament. Trippy Taka up against Sneaky Stackhouse. Classic matchup in this bout. Stackhouse is in the lead, trying to get through on the inside. Can't quite make it past.
well, she's through now because Crotch Candy is out of play, and we'll go to the penalty box for out of play engagement as well. It is another power jam too. Trippy Taka off to the penalty box for a track cut.
Sneaky Stackhouse, arguably the best jammer for Western Sydney on the track. Power jam situation. Exactly what Western Sydney need at this point.
Optimus Prime rejoining her pack now. Full complement for Western Sydney. 3 blockers on the track and no jammer for the West Side Glory.
The West something. Melbourne trying to force her into a cut on the inside line. Don't quite do it. Great play. Sneaky Stackhouse through once again for another Grand Slam.
Trippy Taka out of the penalty box now. Still on her initial pass. Sneaky Stackhouse well aware of her opposite number coming back onto the track.
And she is through once more for another 5-point pass.
Honey Punch doing the business there on Trippy Taka, getting her out of play. Trippy Taka recovers though. She's through. That's her initial pass. Sneaky Stackhouse can hit and quit on this pass and pick up another 4 if she's good enough.
Trying to get...
Well, no points on that pass. Sneaky Stackhouse not taking the risk. And look at that, 155 now plays 143. We had a over 50-point lead whittled down to just 12 points.
Brilliant play here from the Western Sydney Rollers. And a timeout has been called for the West Side Glory from Melbourne. This is too much for the end of the day. This is exciting. This is fun. We would like to thank some of our sponsors, though. Another silver sponsor for the Great Southern Slam 2014 is Hellcat Clothing. Track 4 penalty box. Hellcat makes clothing for women that like it a little different. They make some amazing bout fits. Beautiful, sparkly gorgeousness going on. Derby owned and operated by Go-Go Fiasco from ADRD.
And we'd also like to thank Suitcase Photography. This is now the second time that Suitcase Photography has proudly supported the Great Southern Slam and the 4th year of happily taking photos of the Adelaide Roller Derby. Sometimes without their knowledge. If you'd like to check out Suitcase Photography, go to facebook.com/Suitcase Photography.
He's a very nice boy. We are ready to go once again. 155 for the West Side Glory from Melbourne, 143 for the West Side Rollers. I know it's a cliche, but it is anybody's game.
Absolutely. Lightning now jamming up against Crosby Wheels and Smash.
Turn is low. Western Sydney jumping up to the pivot line. Crosby Wheels and Smash saying hello. Trying to sneak through on the inside, but doesn't make it. 006.
006 is Angel Slayer.
But it is Western Sydney in control. Lightning is your lead jammer.
2 on 2 in the pack. Lightning gets around. And she's going to call it off here, I'd say. Well, no, she decides to keep going. She should be calling this off and does so now.
And takes a second.
Well, picking up 5 points there. Getting the jammer lap point as well. $155 right now for the West Side Glory, 148 for the West Side. Western Sydney Rollers inching their way back into this. 10 minutes left in this bout. A little bit of a height differential here in jammers. Speedy Wasabi up for the Western Glory. Up against Howland Knight for Western Sydney. Well, for the first time, Speedy Wasabi doesn't get straight through. And Howland Knight is your lead jammer. Speedy Wasabi, though, look at that.
She's not happy.
She's not happy. She's making up for lost time here. Look at that skating style. Beautiful to watch.
She's going to try and sneak some points. Hits and quits. Speedy is quick, though.
Speedy is quick. The jam ref wasn't quite so quick calling that off, but it is 3-2 to Western Sydney in that jam. So a slight advantage. That's all they need, closing that gap.
3-3, actually.
3-3 in the end.
Yeah.
Clarification there. 1 in the penalty box, picking up the nod on the track point. 158, 151, 10 minutes to go. Western Sydney also with 3 timeouts up their sleeve. Sneaky Stackhouse on the line up against Trippy Taka.
Bit of a push there from Sneaky Stackhouse. Trippy Taka knows she has to do some damage here to kill this momentum, and she gets through to become lead jammer for the West Side Glory.
Well, Westside Glory pack muscling up here, stopping Sneaky Stackhouse in her tracks. Bloody Kel, last line of defence, doing a brilliant job. And it's going to be a turnaround here. Sneaky Stackhouse now the only jammer on the track, but not lead jammer. Trippy Taka going to the penalty box for a back block.
Oh, a little blocker on blocker trippage over there.
Sneaky Stackhouse sneaks up the inside, does a
my
pirouette.
goodness.
Law and
She's
order.
bloody happy with herself too.
Yeah, picks up the points there. Law and order swallows her back in from the pack momentarily, but then gets sent to the penalty box, I think for out of play engagement.
Grand slam there for Western Sydney.
Trippy Taka ready to come back onto the track. Sneaky Stackhouse not taking any risks there, going back behind her own skaters as well as those who had knocked her out. And gets through for another fight. Well, that'll be, another 5 points there. Trippy Taka working hard to get through. That is her initial pass.
Sneaky Stackhouse with one more opportunity to do some damage here. Western Sydney Rollers move into the lead.
Well, I did predict it earlier, another lead change in this game. I thought I was going to be wrong when it got out to nearly 60 points. But wow, what an amazing game we're seeing here. Honey Punch
Oh no.
taking out Trippy Taka, and Trippy Taka.
Back block once again. In the bin. And the jam clock runs on down, I'm pretty sure. Sneaky Stackhouse absolutely wrapped with herself on that one, and it was a huge effort. Panties flying everywhere.
Well, we've got an official timeout here. I think they're just clarifying the points there, as Trippy Taka did go to the penalty box right at the end, and Sneaky Stackhouse getting 4 points on the last pass, clarifying perhaps whether it should have been 5 points for the jammer lap point as well.
Fair enough. Trippy Taka appealing to her bench manager, who I think is Toxic Goo. G'day, Toxic. Seeing if he can sneak an official review out of it, but he doesn't seem to agree. We're going to play on Lightning here in a power jam situation with Western Sydney.
Well, score trackers now up on the commentary desk, just asking for some score clarification.
And a little bit of love up there on the pivot line.
Well, when we do get underway, it will be Lightning jamming for the Western Sydney Rollers. Trippy Taka still in the penalty box for Westside Glory.
And she is away. Speedy Wasabi saying, nah, mate, stay where you are. But Lightning gets through with a little bit of flair to become your lead jammer for Western Sydney.
And Law and Order once again picking up an out-of-play engagement penalty. Back to the penalty box. Just chases too far. Sorry, that's Ladywood, in fact.
And a grand slam there for Western Sydney, looking to consolidate this lead. Only 7 minutes left on the clock. Close game's a good game.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the end of the game just yet. I think there could be another twist and turn in this game. Lightning picking up the points here. 5 on that pass, looking for another 5 here.
Moving bloody quick. Trippy Taka now standing ready to rejoin Lightning brushing it off her shoulder. A little bump. Trippy Tucker and Ladywood back on the track. Both jammers now in play.
Well, Lightning calling off the jam perhaps prematurely there. Trippy Tucker was on her initial pass.
She looked frankly exhausted. Alan Knight up for Western Sydney. And Sly Diablo up for Westside Glory from Melbourne.
And it is 180 to 158, 22-point lead now for Western Sydney.
But, Westside Glory have done it before in this bout. They might be able to pull it off again. Who knows? Just over 5 minutes left on the clock.
And Sly Diablo is through for lead jammer. That will help no end.
Whoa, skater out past the suicide line.
Sly Diablo looking to score some points. Howland Knight not yet back to the pack. And Sly Diablo does the right thing, picks up the 4 and calls off the jam.
Still, you've got to ask yourself, is that enough nickel and diming at the moment?
Well, 4-0 at this stage is better than 4 each.
True.
Westside Glory doing the right thing, getting their number 1 jammer out there in Speedy Wasabi.
Up against Stackhouse. Sneaky Stackhouse. How do you have a sneaky Stackhouse? That's what I want to know. They're fairly noticeable. Anyway, she certainly is. Killer jammer. 2 of the best jammers in this game on the track. Speedy Wasabi like, yep, I'm just going to go for it. Round the outside to become lead jammer for the West Side Glory.
Well, I love how she puts a little move on Sneaky Stackhouse first and then just takes that outside line beautifully. Sneaky Stackhouse, though, does get through. That means we should only see a 4-point hit it and quit it here from Speedy Wasabi.
Western Sydney 2 blockers down right now. Speedy Wasabi makes it through, calls it off before Stackhouse can equalise.
Yeah, Speedy Wasabi doing a good job, making sure her skater had come out of the penalty box as well before she called off that jam. Optimus Prime and Newton's Nightmare standing ready to come back onto the track for Western Sydney. That means Crosby, Wheels and Smash has a slight advantage, has a few seconds to get lead jammer with the 4-on-2 pack advantage over Power Pout.
4 minutes on the clock. 180 for Western Sydney, 166 for Westside Glory from Melbourne. Can Westside Glory bring this back?
Western Sydney doing a good job holding up Crosby, Wheels and Smash, allowing Power Pout to get through the lead jammer with a 4-on-2 pack disadvantage.
It's not the number of skaters, it's how you use them. Attorneys at law, Crosby, Wheels and Smash getting through on her initial pass. The Power Pout hits and quits for those 4 points.
Well, that's what Western Sydney need to do. Pick up lead, skate out the clock. 3 minutes and 17 seconds left on that clock. 18 points the difference. And Western Sydney bringing it in, talking about it now. They're going to want to talk tactics and probably tell their skaters out there, make sure you pick up lead. Don't go to the box, whatever you do.
No, a power jam right now could really be the only way that the West Side Glory can take this bout away from the Western Sydney Rollers. The winner of this bout will, of course, move on to the semi-finals tomorrow for Division 2. I'm tense. I'm nervous. It's exciting.
Well, it's been one heck of a game. Whatever the result is still up in the air, right down to the wire. 3:15 left on the clock. We don't know who will win this game. It's not clear at this stage. 18 points. Well, we've seen a bigger turnaround than that in this half.
We have. Sneaky Stackhouse is going to be jamming once we come back from this timeout. We've hit a minute.
And she's going to be taking on Speedy Wasabi. I think we're going to see, well, if we had more time in this half, we'd see that a lot, but we don't. Let's see, Speedy Wasabi puts a move on Sneaky Stackhouse this time.
The crowd absolutely loving the tension. Sneaky Stackhouse looking for some little crab claw moment there. Bit of a signal to her blockers. Pincher. I reckon that's what that means. Pincher.
Well, tense on the jam line. Neither jammer wanting to make a false move there.
Sneaky Stackhouse trying to get around the outside, but brilliantly blocked. And it is Sneaky Stackhouse. I'm going to say Speedy Wasabi fall through for lead jammer. She knows this could make all of the difference.
Well, that's a huge lead jammer call for Western Sydney up against Speedy Wasabi.
Oh,
Western Sydney blockers doing the job here. See Lightning doing a great job in the pack there, holding up Speedy Wasabi as
move, skate faster, she's saying. Get out there.
Sneaky Stackhouse. Well, she can't catch up, and she calls off the jam. But she picked up 5-0 in that jam, and that's all they need. 2:20 left on the clock, and it looks like it's getting away from Westside Glory right now. But I wouldn't like to rule them out just yet.
Who knows? Trippy Taka has done some amazing work in this bout. She is up jamming, possibly the last jam, depending on what happens for the Westside Glory.
And that's Power Pout jamming for Western Sydney. Well, jammer on jammer action at the back of the pack. Power Pout holding up Trippy Taka there and allowing her blockers time to make sure Trippy Taka doesn't get through. Good work from Power Pout. That was that timeout. Talking tactics. Howlin' Knight takes out Trippy Taka.
Brilliant block there.
And, well, almost brilliant, but not legal. She's off to the penalty box.
Just like me. Trippy Taka has made her initial pass, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Power Pout gets through, calls off the jam, picks up the quick 4 points, calls it off, and, well, with just over a minute left on the clock, a 27-point difference, not looking good at all for Westside Glory. I had hoped this one would come down to the last jam, but this may well be it.
This may well be it. Sneaky Stackhouse, big smile on her face. They've all had a huge day of roller derby. Let's see how Sneaky Stackhouse... she's got something up her sleeve. Something's going to happen.
There, Crotch Candy running into Doby-Wan Kenobi there. Not managing to get through, and now goes to the inside of the track. Doby-Wan Kenobi doing a great job.
And it is Sneaky Stackhouse on this, going to be the last jam of the match.
All she needs to do now is keep it clean, and that will seal the game.
Just going to have a little fun, just a little fun biffo, a little street skate out there with Westside Glory.
Well, Sneaky Stackhouse will wind down the clock here. Only 10 seconds left in the period. Once that period clock is up, I imagine Sneaky Stackhouse will call off this jam.
She's just having fun there in the pack.
Well, period clock has ended. Crowd is screaming at her. There she goes. She calls it off.
Oh, right, yeah. She calls it off.
That will be it. Western Sydney Rollers will advance in the Great Southern Slam. They'll go to the semi-finals.
We'll only be operating tracks 1 and 2 tomorrow at the Great Southern Slam. Both will be boutcast live with your commie team from all over Australia. So make sure you tune in, have a look at the Great Southern Slam Facebook page to find out what time and who is playing where. Go
Get down here if you can. In the meantime, I need some Hague's chocolate to finish off the evening. That was so exciting. I'm going to go and pig out on some fantastic chocolate later on tonight. Western Sydney Rollers wait for the official score, but at the moment looking like a 31-point lead after the final whistle.
Sneaky Stackhouse just has lost her mind out near turn 2.
Well, one of the more theatrical skaters from Western Sydney, Sneaky Stackhouse.
I love a theatrical skater. But a great effort from both teams here. We're making a tunnel of love. Is that the technical term for each team? A great bout. Everyone wants to reward them.
Yeah, a great new something that's come into roller derby is the tunnel of love. So it's nice to see. Bit awkward for the skaters, but you know.
There's a lot going on. You're going to get drinks spilled on you. You might get spat on a little bit, but you know what? You've just spent an hour.
And there it is. Official final score, 197 to Western Sydney Rollers. Take it out over the West Side Derby Dolls, 166. And there they go through the tunnel of love. Hope they all make it out the other side. And it's been an absolute pleasure to call this bout. I've been Mike Mann.
My name is Rupert Murdoch. We will see you again very, very soon.